What's up, everybody? Showing up the King here. I'm here to do a review today for One Piece 667, Bleach 492, and Naruto 586. Yes, you are hearing correctly. I am doing a review on manga. I've actually been a fan of manga for a very long time. I've been following Naruto since the first part. I've been following Bleach since the Shikigami retrieval arc. And I've been following One Piece since it was actually being aired in America. So again, I just kind of wanted to throw my hat into the race and just try to come on here when I had a chance to talk about it. As you guys mostly know, I do most of my videos on the weekend. I do reviews for Avatar: Legend of Korra, Young Justice, etc. So I kind of wanted to also talk about manga because it's another thing that's close to my heart, as you can probably tell from my channel page. So what I decided to do is just come on here. I'm going to talk about each manga in one video, tell you my thoughts about it, how I felt about it, and then I'm going to probably just wrap it up by telling you which one of that week that I prefer, and then I definitely want to hear from you guys on what you thought on each chapter and see what you guys thought about it as well. Let's get into it. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Naruto first because Naruto kind of had a pivotal chapter this week. They have been battling. Tachi and Sasuke have been battling. I'm about to say Orochimaru. They've been battling Kabuto for at least like 2 months now, and so far the battle's been kind of slow. Itachi's been trying to catch him in the Izanami, and we actually finally find out exactly what Izanami is. And basically, what happens is that it's a genjutsu that doesn't require you to see your opponent. And I'm guessing that when they make contact, that's how Izanami, actually triggered. And basically, what happened was Kabuto attacked from the last chapter. Kabuto attacked Itachi and sliced him in half with his medical ninjutsu blade that he has. And Sasuke intervened and stopped it because it looked like Kabuto had like a little dagger with a tag on it. I think it was something that can help him turn Itachi back on his side. I'm not sure. He never got a chance to use it. Essentially, Itachi hit him with the Izanami, and what Izanami does is it traps you in the loop of destiny. From what my understanding is so basically, there was a part when Itachi lopped off one of his horns, and that loop kept coming back. It almost reminds you of Groundhog Day. If you guys are familiar, you may be old enough to understand Groundhog Day. You keep reliving the same day over and over again. But in this case, it was you keep reliving the same couple of minutes over and over again. So now it was actually interesting how they actually drew it because literally they kind of just like rehashed the same events over and over again. So it almost felt like you were getting screwed out of a chapter. I'm not saying that it was a bad chapter, but with them basically showing how he was in the loop, they basically just wasted, in my opinion, a couple of pages, which was cool. Now my thoughts on that chapter, basically, they catch him in the genjutsu, and at the end of it, you see he thinks that he's reliving the situation over and over again. He finally figures it out, but there's nothing he can do because outside of his body, you can see Itachi and Sasuke standing in front of him. Itachi has his hand over his head. I'm not sure if he had to stay that way, but that's kind of how that whole situation ended up playing out. Now my thoughts on that chapter. I think with the Uchihas, there is a lot of hype because they have all these Ijutsus, and we had Donzo who ended up using Izanami, not Izanami, Izanagi, whatever it's called. I guess I'm pretty sure one of you guys will correct me on it in the comments. But his, when he used his, it cost you your sight. So when we heard about Izanami, mostly everybody was just like, oh my god, I can't wait to see it. It's going to probably be some awesome jutsu because they were talking about destiny being changed. And to be honest with you, overall I enjoyed the chapter, but once I finally saw what Izanami was, I wasn't impressed. Honestly, I'm like, and especially since he lost his sight in his eye when he used it, I was expecting somewhat of a bigger payoff. I thought it was going to be some sort of crazy looking jutsu. I don't honestly know what I expected, but what I saw, it almost underperformed for me. Uh, Especially since I personally feel that they could have, now granted he did cover his eyes, so they couldn't get him with a regular genjutsu, But I was under the impression that the Mokugen Sharingan could have probably put him in some sort of genjutsu just like that. How he put Kakashi, and he made him feel the pain for like a couple of weeks when it's only been a couple of seconds. Something to that effect. So I thought, slowing down time and that person's perception is not the same. But I guess because Kabuto covered his eyes up, that kind of made that null and void. So I'm guessing Izanami was by physical contact. So that's why I was able to work. Overall, I'm going to give this chapter a 3 out of 5. It still was very solid, and I still did enjoy it. Okay, let's move on to Bleach. This was chapter 492. 492, yes. Bleach has actually gotten very, very interesting. The arc, we're on 1,000-year blood war, and things have been definitely heating up since this chapter. I know a lot of people were unhappy with the last arc we had, and I didn't particularly hate it. I've actually been a Bleach fan. Sometimes, depending on the arc it's in, I might be leaning more towards Bleach that arc. I may be leaning towards Naruto that arc. So it's actually been a back and forth. I love everything equally, but just be fair. Sometimes they're going to be some of the arcs are going to be better than the others. It's just the way it is. You can't love everything 100% equally. So that's just how it was. But let's get into the Bleach arc now. Basically, Ichigo has went back to Wako Mondo, and Holly Bell and her lieutenants have been fighting the Quincy, this Mega Quincy. I can't remember his name right now, but he has transformed into almost like a Bankai level, his version of a Bankai. Not calling it a Bankai, but I guess their equivalent of a Bankai, actually probably a little bit stronger. And he's like, I guess they call it the Angel form. We'll call it the Angel form. And he's actually fighting off against Aeon. And, Aeon is this crazed beast that's, he's used from combining Holly Bell's lieutenant's left arms, and he comes into this crazy-looking chimera. And this dude was badass, even when he was, in the Aizen arc. And he was, whooping all the lieutenants' ass. And even, Yamamoto had to come out and basically put a stop to him. So Aeon's back, and, he's, like, ferocious as ever. He, it didn't even waste time before, because I guess he was pissed. He just, like, opened his face up and was like, ah! From the start, and, he started whooping on that angel like something fierce. Like, it almost reminded me like Hulk going on a rampage. That's exactly what I kept thinking about, because the guy was just hitting him back, and I was just taking up damage and just like coming back, and he actually got hold to him, and he was like, slamming him on the ground and punching him, and then literally like when he got up, it was like a quake, and his body was just laying there, and it was to the point where Onahime, she was, of course, but she's a little soft, so she was just like, oh no, this is too much. And Chad was in the background like, wow, this is a little bit of overkill. And of course, even her lieutenants, Holly Bell's lieutenants, were like, this is a little bit crazy. So me personally, I loved it. This is the kind of thing that I want to see from this manga. Like I said, I've been a Bleach fan, I've been a Naruto fan, but this is exactly the kind of stuff we want to see from week to week. Now, there was another part to this chapter. I didn't talk about it at first because, again, it was basically just giving us backstory and stuff we've pretty much already known. They gave us a little bit more information, but overall, we pretty much already knew about the history between the Shinigami and the Quincy. Basically, they were fighting for control. Apparently, the Quincy liked to kill the Hollows completely, whereas the Shinigami, when they kill the Hollows, they go back to Soul Society. And I guess it's like a ebb and flow. One thing has to balance out the other, and the Quincy's were basically trying to mess that up. So that's why the war started, essentially. But you know what? We could have been, for the most part, we could have learned that. I wanted to stick to the Aeon action. So, overall, this chapter was good. The action with Aeon definitely saved it. I'm going to also give this chapter a 3.5 out of 5. And let's go ahead and move on to One Piece. Now, One Piece, we are at chapter 667. And again, not to draw any trolls, for the most part, like up until, with the undersea, the deep blue, the whole arc there, I was glad that was over. They're on the second part of the Grand Line. I'm happy. I'm enjoying it. We got Law. He's wrecking stuff. Things are going great. But last chapter, we got Blackbeard's death. So, Blackbeard was always a throwaway character. He was almost mostly basically a clown. So, he got killed by the, what do they call them? The Cole brothers, I think. The bomb, they basically giant yetis, okay, with guns. So, basically they had kidnapped Frankie, but in Frankie's body was Nami. So Chopper's body is Frankie. So Frankie actually went with Luffy to try to get Nami Frankie back. Yeah, I know this is like, what the hell are they talking about? Yeah, they basically switched bodies. Law used his fruit ability to switch their hearts. So different parts of each person is in a different body basically. So basically this chapter was actually action packed. There was a couple pieces of dialogue, but then Luffy went chasing after the brothers, and when he caught up to them, they were at the bottom of this gorge, and Luffy fell. Of course, Luffy just runs head first into things. So Luffy falls and he's going down the chasm, and he's getting ready to fall in these like ice spikes. So he uses his armament power and he uses his Gum No and breaks them all up, and it was like awesome. And then basically one of the funny parts is Frankie in Chopper's body took the pill to turn into a giant, but then the dumb butt went on a rampage, and the entire time is trying to attack Luffy. It was hilarious. Luffy's like trying to fight the brothers and then trying to get away from Chopper Frankie at the same time. So essentially what ends up happening is actually we learn that Luffy does have another ability, which is actually kind of cool. We already know that he can deflect bullets. So when the brothers actually shot their guns at him, Luffy turned into a balloon and everything bounced off of him. But now he has the ability to target with the bullets and shoot them back at the person at double the power. So he actually does a little Kodak thing with his eye, and he tracks down exactly where he wanted to go, and he shoots it back at him, and it hits him, and it just messes this guy all up. And then they actually recover, and they shoot the mountain, and the mountain starts to fall, and then Frankie Chopper grabs the mountain and actually swings it. I almost thought he was swinging it at Luffy, and he ended up hitting the guys and then knocking one of the brothers out. And they actually grabbed Frankie Nami and ran off. And then what ends up happening is out of the blue, Law comes out with his sword. That dude was a badass, by the way. I mean, that dude was badass. Like his ability, like in the first part of the Grand Line, we've seen him in action a couple of times, and I knew he was a badass, but you never really saw the extent of his fruit ability. So now he has definitely earned his title as the Master Surgeon. So he basically cuts down the other brother like it was nothing, and then he basically goes to Luffy and is like, we have a plan. I want to get rid of the Grand Four. I know I'm saying it wrong, but you guys are One Piece fans. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So it kind of ends there with them discussing about going into some sort of alliance. Now, overall, this chapter was very good. The previous chapters have kind of been kind of slow, more dialogue instead of action, like I would like to see. But overall, I enjoyed the One Piece. I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5. So out of the 3 manga chapters this week, I'm going to give the W to One Piece. It goes without saying. One Piece was fantastic this week. It brought the action, it brought the comedy, and we got to see Law in action again. We got to see Luffy using his armaments, and to me, that's exactly what I want to get out of a chapter. In second place, I'm going to give it to Bleach, and then in last place, but not meaning last place as being with a bad chapter, I'm going to give it to Naruto, just on a simple fact that I would like to have seen more out of Izanami. But again, I want to know what you guys think. I want you guys to comment in the section below. Definitely thumbs up if you love manga and you love the big 3, and definitely subscribe. I love doing these videos, and again, that definitely helps me out when you guys subscribe. And I also want to, again, like I said, if you guys like what I'm doing, just let me know if you want me to keep doing these manga reviews. Other than that, it's Shown Up the King. Have a great night.